Hi. Well, it's another beautiful day, though it's cold. Today I want to talk about what you're holding on to. Now, a couple of things have come to mind. I don't know if you've ever seen a mandala, but that's a circle within a circle within a circle, and it's all different colors. Now, basically, that's you. Because on the surface of the circle, or on the outside of the circle, is the world. And you have attachments to the world. And you also have attachments to the stuff inside the circle, which is you. So these attachments are what is keeping you unhappy. That's basically it. Now, what this means is that you need to let go of the attachments. Now, that doesn't matter what attachment it is, but there's a lot of things that are. One of them is your emotions, your emotional state. If you're attached to being sad, then you're going to be sad. If you're attached to being angry, then you're going to be angry. Okay? You can't let go of the anger because you're attached to it. And you can't let go of the sadness because you're attached to that too. Whatever emotional state you're in, you're attached to it. It's become part of you. It doesn't need to be part of you, but that is what it's become. Now, what this means is that we need to let go of the emotions. And when I say let go, I don't mean we don't have emotions anymore. Obviously, we still do. What I mean is that the emotions are not us. Whether you're angry or irritated or upset or just unhappy, those are all emotional states. And as long as you're in the emotional state, then you are attached to the emotion. Now, the way to get unattached to the emotion is to realize that you are not the one making the emotion. The emotion is being made for you by the ego. That is where it's coming from. And that ego wants to make you feel bad or good, depending. Okay? And what this means is you're going to be unhappy unless you're great. Because the ego wants to be big. And it can do that through you becoming a great man or woman. Okay? Which is success, power, so on and so forth. So that's how the ego wants you to be, really. Because then it feels big. And it gets bigger. It becomes more in control of your actions. Isn't that crazy? But it's true. Because the more it can make you feel, the more it has you. And there's nothing you can do to make that not be except to accept that you are not the ego. You're not the one making the emotions. You're not the one thinking the thoughts. You are a soul. And that soul is completely free. It's not attached to anything. What's attached to everything is your person, your personality, who you think you are. That's it. Okay? And I know we all think that we are great. Or maybe we don't. But whatever we think, that's what is for us. And the problem with that is that what is for us isn't necessarily what is. Now, what that means is that you're living in a dream. Okay? Which is not necessarily a good thing because you don't have control over your life. That's it. Decisions are being made for you based on what your ego wants. And what does your ego want? It wants to feel big so it can either make you big or make you small. Right? Isn't that crazy? It is. So, in order to do that, it has to control you. And it does that using these emotions. And you are attached to the emotion because that is just the way it is. The ego is sitting there in the control room of your brain. I don't know if the ego's in the brain or the mind or where it is, but the point is it's there. And it's making these decisions in order to make itself feel good, make itself feel better. It doesn't care about you at all. Now, of course, this is all ununderstandable unless you accept that this thing is not you. That's it. There's nothing else about it. This ego, which is controlling you, isn't you. You think it's you. You think that you are the one doing the thinking. Right? Right? You the one thinking the thoughts. Because you have a brain. Right? That's what you think. And you think your thoughts are right. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. What I am saying is that they're not. Because you're living in a dream. And that is not good. Because there is a thing called reality, which your ego doesn't want you to know about. Anyway. So, how do we get out of this trap? Because that's what it is. By letting go of the emotions. Now, I know that sounds hard. But how we do that is by accepting them. What happens is that you feel an emotion coming on. And what do you do about it? You try to fight it, don't you? Yeah, of course, that's what you do. Unless it's a good emotion, which is very few of those. Just love, which isn't really an emotion. You try to fight this feeling. You don't want it to come up, so you try to push it down, which makes it come up more. Okay? And in doing so, you are chaining yourself to the emotion because you cannot avoid what is coming because you are trying to fight it. That's it. If you accept the emotion, embrace the emotion, then the emotion will let go of you. That's all. And these emotions, which are made to make you feel a certain way, why? Because the ego is the one making them. And it wants you to feel that whatever way it wants, which is either good or bad. And if you're not great, then it wants you to feel bad. So we can feel better. I'm sure we've all met people who like hurting things and people because it makes them feel better. Well, that's the way the ego is. And if you let the ego to continue to do what it does, which it will, and there's no way that it's not going to continue doing that. That's just the way it is. If you continue to let that happen, then you are going to suffer because that is what that is. And I've talked about suffering before and how it's not pain, it's what we do with the pain. So let's talk about the pain. Because you know what? You're attached to that too. Because in a way, it's also an emotion. I know that sounds crazy, but think about it. When you feel the pain coming on, what do? You fight it, right? You take a pill, okay? And the pill goes in and it fights with the fucking pain. It makes it subside, or whatever, okay? That's what we do. But what if the pill doesn't work? What if the pain is too much for any pill? Then what? And what if the pain lingers on and on? Then you are trapped in the pain. Now, how do we release from the pain? By accepting the pain. All you have to do is accept what is. That's it. If you accept everything as it is, then nothing can hurt you because you are not the pain. You are not the feeling of pain. And what is pain? Well, pain is a system of the body that warns you when something's bad, right? But pain doesn't know that you know. It has no idea that you know. Okay? So, it keeps on coming. Right? Until whatever it is fixed. By whatever it means. Anyway, letting go of the pain is like letting go of an emotion. You have to accept the pain. Not try to fight it. Because even if you do try to fight it, if it keeps coming, then it's just going to keep coming. And that pain becomes a story. And that story is what you tell to people when you see them. How you doing, Mabel? Oh, my back hurts. Gotta stand back in mind. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? And you complain about the pain. And all of this causes suffering. Because that's just what it does. Because your mind is trying to make the pain go away. It's trying to make the emotion go away. So it complains about the emotion. Like the emotion is a thing that will just walk away. Or a person. Okay? So it complains about the emotion. To everyone it can possibly listen to. Okay? And this is why if you let that emotion or pain rule you, it's not going to go away. It's going to keep coming back. But there's a way not to let that happen, and that is to accept. That's it. Accept the pain. Accept the emotion. And it will dissipate. If you have something wrong with you, obviously there's still going to be pain. But it's just pain. As long as you don't turn that pain into suffering, then you will not be unhappy. I've suffered great pain in my life. And yes, I turned it into suffering. Okay? But the main point is not to do that. So, try to accept what is. Try to realize that you are not the one making the emotions. You are not the one thinking the thoughts or making decisions. You are the one hearing thoughts, hearing decisions. Okay? Because you are a soul, a beautiful, fantastic, pure soul, made by God. Now, maybe you don't believe in God, which is fine. I'm not saying you have to believe in God. Just believe in your own consciousness. Right now, if you're not awakened yet, your consciousness is at a level of a dream. Okay? That's basically it. Even though we're not talking about a sleeping dream. Okay? That's what it's at the level of. No matter how smart or whatever you are, that's the level you're on. Okay? In order to get your consciousness up to a better level, a level where you can really use it, okay? And you're not just following the footsteps of everyone else, which you are. Okay? You need to awaken. And how we awaken is to accept that you are not a person. You are a soul. You are a part of God. Now, I know everyone thinks of God as an old man with a long beard, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's fine. But that's not what God is, because we cannot conceive of God. There's no way that that's what God is. I believe that God is the source, okay? Which is really everything. There is nothing that the source is not, okay? It's like the cells of my hand, okay? All of these cells don't even know I exist. All they know is to do what they do. That's it. And as long as they keep doing it, then all is well. And that's the same thing with the source. Okay? The source keeps doing what the source does. And what does the source do? It makes everything. That's what. I've talked about this before. Scientists believe that, matter is impossible, shouldn't exist. Why does it exist? Because God wanted it to. That's fine. And this is why it's important to be able to connect with God. Isn't it great when you can connect with another person? Isn't that great? Doesn't that feel good? That's because God is in the connection, because the source is in everything. Now, you may disagree with me on that. That's fine. But I have touched God. I have felt him. Okay? So I know he exists. Now you can say, well, you're crazy. How do you know you touched God? Blah, 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 blah. Okay? But that's my conviction. I'm convicted of it. Okay? Convinced. And when that happened, I awoke, which means I stopped suffering. And that is what you have to do. Because suffering is misery. And you're not on this planet to be miserable. You're on this planet to experience what is. But you cannot experience what is if everything is colored the way the ego wants it to be. And it is. So, we need to accept that that is the way it is. And let that go. The ego and the way the ego wants the world to be, we need to let it go. Just like we need to let the emotions go and the pain go. Because pain is only pain. It doesn't have to be everything. I have no right to talk. I don't have cancer. I don't know about that kind of pain, believe me. But it is what it is. And if we accept it for what it is, then it will not have the power to control and hurt us. Because we are not this body. We are spiritual beings, souls. And if we continue to believe that we are persons, okay, which 99% of the people on earth do, then that's going to be bad. So, accept. Accept everything that is. Don't try to fight it. I mean, obviously, if you need to take a headache pill, take a headache pill. Okay? I'm not saying to take a headache pill. But don't be attached to the pill. Really, it's all in our mind. All this stuff is in the mind. What you think of the pill, what you think the pill's capabilities. We all know the placebo effect. You can take a pill that actually doesn't do anything. If you think it does something, then it doesn't. Right? Because it's all in the mind. And so is all of your attachments. And if you stop taking yourself so seriously, and I know that you're a very serious person and everything like that, but we are but actors on a stage, here for a short time, though it seems long. We're not that important. That's just the way it is. And if we're so serious that we can't see the beauty, so caught up in the world that we cannot feel the world, then what is the point in living? What is the point of continuing on? Because it's only going to end one way. A terrible death that you think is you. You become the death. You are the death because you think that's you. You're dying. Unless you get hit by a bus or something. But that death isn't you. You are not death. You are a soul which cannot die. Yes, you are dying. We are all dying. Regardless of everything you might try to do to prevent it. Okay? We're still dying. Because that is the nature of life. You grow, and then you start to die. It takes a long time. 40, 50 years. Or more. I am slowly decaying. You are slowly decaying. That is the nature of what is. And if we try to fight against that, then we're going to have suffering. That's the way it is. We have to accept what is. I know there's another wrinkle in your skin that you saw in the mirror today, or whatever it is. Okay? Or your bodom's not so high as it once was, or whatever it is. Okay? But that isn't you. You think it's you. You think that the body that you're looking at in the mirror is you, but it's not. You are a soul. As long as you identify with the body. And I'm not saying that you stop being in a body, but you identify with it. Just like you identify with your emotions and your pain and your dying. But you are not those things. Yes, those things are happening because you are not in control of your life. And as long as that is the case, then you're going to suffer. So how do we get out of it? By accepting. That's it. Okay? Accept that you are not who and what you think you are. That's it. Okay? The part of you that is you, that is your isness, is your soul. You can't possess your soul, so it's not really your soul. It's a soul. That's who you are. All this other stuff, your personality and your body and the person that you think you are, all that stuff is laid on top of that beautiful soul. And if you think that that's okay, I say it's not. Because you need freedom. Don't you? Don't you want freedom from the constant barrage of thoughts, the emotional storms that you go through? Freedom from all these things that aren't you? Yeah, of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. So, just try. Try to accept what is. And feel the isness. Feel what is right and wrong. Which you can't do if your mind is completely occupied by the ego and its thoughts. Well, I guess I've spent enough time on this. Please accept what is. And know that I love you. Because you're me. And you're part of everything. And everything is a part of you. You are the universe. There is no part of you that is not the universe. Because you are a piece of God. So therefore, God is the universe. And therefore, you are the universe too. You are not this body. You are not this mind. All right, well, I guess I gotta go. Take care. Have a good day.